Hello, everyone. You're listening to Lipstick and Leather, and right now is Mr. Joey Cassata. How's your day going today, Joey?
Yo, Ryan, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Always great to chat with you, and always great to see you.
You too, my brother. I know we've been trying to set up this a while. I saw you over in Hinckley. I think we tried to get this set up, right?
We did, and it was very nice to see you in Hinckley and get some photos together. That was very exciting.
Yeah, that was a great night. Always a great event. It was great seeing you. We go way back.
We do, for sure. Now, what made ZO2 get back together?
So ZO2, listen, we never officially broke up. We took a little hiatus in around 2013, I think it was. All intentions of, reforming one day and relaunching what we started back in 2002. And unfortunately, I'm sure you know the story. David Z, brother Paulie Z, bass player of ZO2, bass player of Trans-Siberian Orchestra, passed away tragically in a car accident in Florida while on the road with Adrenaline Mob. And, that officially, kind of put a real halt on ZO2. Paulie and I were devastated. We're still devastated. And we really had no intention of starting anything up again or ever really doing this again. It was, just a fun thing to look back on and, remember days by. But then as the years went by and as the healing began, we started reminiscing more and talking more. Paulie's over in LA now. I'm on the East Coast. And we just started talking more and more and started getting the juices flowing. We had a lot of material that Dave recorded with us that we had written together that, was going to be our fourth album. And we never got a chance to finish it. And we decided, you know what, let's give this a shot. I think Dave would want to do this. And the original intention, we were going to have just guest bass players play with us periodically live, maybe release something. We weren't even sure about releasing anything, but we were just going to do some live events with some guest bass players. And we had the incredible Mark Mendoza from Twisted Sister sit in with us for the very first show. He wasn't actually even supposed to do the whole first show with us. We were going to do just a collaboration of different bass players. And Mark, who's been a great friend of ours for years, really asked us if he could do the whole show. And it was the biggest honor we've ever felt in the industry. Him wanting to honor Dave that way and grace us with his presence. And we did this incredible show in New York City. And, from there, we just thought it was a one and done. And, Mark is super busy doing 100 other things. And, once Paulie and I decided to, let's really relaunch this. We just thought it would be more suiting to have someone closer to Paulie that was on the West Coast that he could sit with Paulie and, track and rehearse and do that stuff. So we recruited Mr. Sean McNabb from Dokken. He's plays with TSO now too. Incredible bass player. And, we put some tracks together, put some unreleased material together, and we just released our new record, Begin Again.
Very cool. Now, will there be a second single and video off Begin Again?
It's so funny you should say that. I was just texting Paulie maybe an hour ago discussing what the next single will be. The next single is going to be Live Today on that record. It's a track we mostly tracked a while ago. We spruced it up a little bit recently. It's a phenomenal song. We really love it. We're collaborating on a video right now. We're shooting some ideas back and forth, but we're looking for a March release, which is when the digital release for Begin Again will be coming out.
Awesome. Now, my hard copy's still not in. Is All Hell's Breaking Loose the Kiss cover?
It is. You saw the track listing, so you didn't get your copy yet?
Not yet.
Yep. So you're going to get all kinds of goodies. You're going to get postcards like this. You're going to get some other goodies in it. Yes, All Hell's Breaking Loose is a cover of a Kiss song. We actually released that years ago on the Eric Carr album Unfinished Business, and it just seemed a really fitting track to put on this record. It's kind of, this is a 2 CD set. The first CD is a full greatest hits of our first 3 records, and the second CD is a bunch of singles, unreleased singles, and B-side tracks and some new singles.
Awesome. Yourself, like myself, are a huge Kiss fan. How did you get involved in playing the new Ace Frehley album, 10,000 Volts?
Yeah, so anyone who knows me, you're out, your picture behind you, who's ever read my book, Start with the Dream, which is available on Amazon right now. knows that I'm everything about me is starts with Kiss. I grew up in the 70s. I saw Kiss 1979. I was 5 years old, and it changed my life. I saw Peter Criss rise on that drum set, and everything changed for me from that moment. My path shifted, and it's still going down that path today because of Kiss and because of wanting to be a drummer. And when over the years, I've met members of Kiss. We toured with ZO2, toured with Kiss. We did the whole Rock the Nation tour. We did a couple shows on the Alive 35 tour, I believe. And Kiss has been on our lives forever. They've been great to us. I became really close with Peter over the years. He actually wrote the foreword to my book, and I know Ace through the years as well. And Ace's new producer slash co-writer for the new record, Steve Brown. Your shirt says it all, Ryan. I've been playing with Steve for years with Eric Martin, and I also sit in with some Trickster stuff. We're playing on the Jericho Cruise coming up. We're doing a Trickster set on the Jericho Cruise. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Steve gave me a call and he said, "Hey, dude, I'm helping Ace, put this new album together. Would you like to demo a few songs?" And even that was like, holy crap, I'm going to demo songs with Ace Frehley. It's a dream come true. So I got together with Steve. We demoed a few tracks. Ace loved them, wanted to polish them up. We finished them. And Steve called me a couple months later. "Hey, dude, I got a couple more songs. Why don't you come down? Let's do some more songs." So, winds up, I'm on anywhere from 5 to 8 songs on that record, depending on which versions they use. I know Anton did a couple songs. I know Anton retracked a couple of my demos that I did. Obviously, Anton is one of the, if not the greatest drummer alive today. So it was an honor for him to, do some of my tracks that I had demoed out with Steve. But that's how it all came about. Ace came down to the studio one of the days I was recording. He loved the stuff we were doing. The track we did while he was in the studio, we did a song called "Constantly Cute," which is going to be on the record. And Ace did all the lyrics that night. We were writing them together. It was a phenomenal, surreal night.
Yourself, like myself, must be pumped that back into my arms again is on the new Ace CD.
Oh my God! So this is so fun. I'm on that track, which
Oh,
is
cool.
a dream come true. That's one of my favorite. Anyone who's into the Kiss Ace bootlegs throughout the
Mm.
years, which I'm a big bootleg guy, loves that song. It was always a standout track that for some reason, I think, it was a very melodic poppy track for Ace. And Ace was doing that sort of stuff early on in the 80s. But then when he started putting Frehley's Comet together, he got a little bit heavier. And I think that song just fell by the wayside. And Steve and Ace were, just messing around on YouTube one day. And Steve's like, "Hey, what's this song, Back in Your Arms? I see this. I don't know this song." And Ace said, "This is a demo from back in the day." And Steve loved it. And they decided to track it for this record. And when I got the call that I was on that song and I recorded that song, that was all I needed. If I was just on Back in Your Arms again, my drumming career is fulfilled. It's one of my favorite songs ever. And to track that song with Ace after 30, 40 some odd years, dream come true.
I can't wait to hear that version.
Oh, it's incredible. It's everything the old version was, and times 10, because the production on it now with Steve's engineering and producing skills, it sounds so polished and so poppy. I actually wish it was one of the singles that were coming out, but I think there was so much hype behind it, it didn't need to be one of the singles.
Now, when will the sequel to Joey Licious Wrestling and Start with a Dream 2 be released?
So the second Joey Licious book is currently out. So there is 2 Joey Licious books out. The second Wrestling with Joey Licious book, do I have a copy sitting right here? I do not, but I can get one before we end. The cover has Chris Jericho's boot basically stepping on my face. I'm not sure if you've seen that cover, but it is available on Amazon. That kind of finishes that Joey Licious Part 1 story. Chris Jericho is a big part of book 2, along with a lot of other superstar wrestlers, including Mick Foley, Jimmy Snuka, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The book makes a turn in Part 2 where you wouldn't think it was coming. I'm currently working on the audiobooks of that, so that's coming out too. And a deluxe version of both of those books in one is going to be released soon too.
Very cool. Now, will you get back into acting down the road?
Yeah, listen, it's something I always love to do. You know, Joey Licious, the show, the TV show, streaming show is still in the works. We got a lot of big names, including maybe the biggest name in wrestling history on board with the show. The writers' strike and the actors' strike killed us. You know, we had a lot of momentum. We were meeting with networks, and we just our momentum got crushed. And now it's the holidays, so looking for the new year to start shopping again. Absolutely love acting, so much fun. But the Joey Licious character that I wrote and created, and you know the storylines that I wrote with my partner Chris Lynn, it's if we get it off the air. Anyone who wants to see the shorts are available on Amazon Prime, and they're also available on YouTube. You can go on there, search for Wrestling with Joey Licious, and you'll see me, you know, wrestling and goofing around with some of the greatest wrestlers in history. You know, Mick Foley, Tito Santana, Roddy Piper, Chris Jericho, all these guys. It's just a lot of fun. The show.
I love the Iron Sheik one.
Oh, the Iron Sheik was absolutely incredible. The day we filmed with the Iron Sheik, I'll tell you a quick story. We filmed with the Iron Sheik over at Caroline's Comedy Club, and we were filming the scene. It took place in the bathroom, the men's room in the club. And the day of the event, Sheik, you know, Sheik is very moody, would you say? And his manager was like, Joe, listen, I don't know. The Sheik might not do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm all set up. Our cameras are here. My crew is here. We lit the bathroom. We're ready to go. He's like, well, I'm not sure. So he's like, listen, we're in the main room. Come on over. I run over to the main room, and the Sheik right now is in a wheelchair. He can move and he can walk around, but he is in a wheelchair. He's a little bit slow on his feet. So before, you know, I just introduced myself. He knew that the shoot was going to take place that day. I didn't give him time to protest. It's just my personality. I grabbed the Sheik by the back of the wheelchair, and I literally just took him and started wheeling him to the bathroom where we were filming. And closely behind, and you'll see it in the skit if you ever see it, Nikolai Volkov, who was there that day with the Sheik doing something at Caroline's, was chasing us, yelling, "Can I be in it? Can I be in it too?" So last minute we wrote Nikolai in as well, and you know the skit is a classic bit inside of Caroline's men's room.
Very awesome. Now, the new ZO2 video is filmed most of it at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. What are some of your favorite memories at the Rainbow?
So the Rainbow and the Whiskey are home away from home for us. We grew up there, we lived there, we've played there dozens of times. We've made that walk. Anyone who's ever been on the Sunset Strip has made that walk from the Rainbow to the Whiskey, back to the Rainbow, back to the Whiskey, you know, dozens and dozens of times. And it's just Paulie lives out there now, and Sean lives out there, and we filmed the whole video inside of the Whiskey, and then the extra bits that we filmed in the Rainbow. It just felt fitting. On the wall, if you've ever been to the Rainbow, and anyone who's ever been to the Rainbow, there's not only a ZO2 picture on the wall, but there's a tribute to David as well. And we just felt that it was very fitting. It's the rock and roll home. It's the rock and roll Animal House, if you would. It's the place where Zeppelin and Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and all these people have you know really made their careers at the Rainbow and the Whiskey, and we just felt fitting doing it there.
Awesome. Now, will the new Eric Martin solo CD be under Eric Martin, or will it be under a band name?
You know what? That's a great question. That's a question for Eric. I know Eric's currently in the studio working on some new Mr. Big songs. So that's what I look forward to right now. I'm not sure about the new Eric Martin CD, to tell you the truth.
Now, if Mr. Big asked you to fill in for some shows, would you?
Listen, they're one of the greatest bands ever.
I agree.
I tease Eric all the time, but I am a massive fan. Don't let him hear that. Erase this message, please, Ryan, right away. But no, Eric knows I love him. He's one of my favorite, if not my favorite vocalist of all time. Some of those Mr. Big songs, especially the first few records, are just incredible. I would be honored to do a couple shows with them. You know, unfortunately, with my schedule and Mr. Big's touring schedule overseas, I don't know if it would have worked out. But if Eric ever needs me, he knows where I am.
Now, the ZO2 CDs, as far as I know, are out of print. Any chance of a reissue or maybe a picture disc run?
Absolutely. So I don't know about a picture disc or a reissue, but we are definitely talking about some vinyls. I think all 4 albums will be coming out on vinyl in 2024. We're currently discussing that. I'm not, yeah, they're probably out of print. I think you can get some stuff on Amazon maybe, but they might be a little pricey at this point. But yeah, the first three ZO2 CDs, just great times recording those CDs. The first CD was called Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we named it. It was literally the days that we had our rehearsal space in Manhattan, Tuesday and Thursday. So every Tuesday and every Thursday were the days we wrote that album and recorded that album and rehearsed that album. So it kind of reflected on that. And then the second record, Ain't It Beautiful, was just named after the title. Our lives were beautiful at that moment. Everything was beautiful. We just got off the road with Kiss, so it was perfect. And then the third record, Casino Logic, was something that I came up with, and David and I kind of lived by. It was like our motto. David and I, who were big gamblers, we came up with this slogan, Casino Logic. And all it meant was, we would always go to the casino and we would spend 5, 6, 7, 8 hours in the casino, and I'd be drinking and we'd be eating and we'd be having the time of our lives gambling. And if we walked away down $2,000, we would look at each other and say, you know what? We're down $2,000, but I had about $5,000 worth of fun. That's Casino Logic. You can justify anything if you explain it the right way.
I'll remember that next time I'm in Hinckley seeing you.
Oh, I'll be there.
All right. Now, who thought of the neat calendar layout for Tuesdays and Thursdays on that topic?
That's all Paulie. Paulie was the graphic designer, especially on those first few albums. He laid out that calendar. We printed it the sideways way, which is a little bit weird, odd way to print the CD booklet. But it was just that, we're obviously, you two, we're big Kiss fans. We love packaging. We love, that's why we released this new one through Kibble Records on, CD first, because we wanted to give the fans old school packaging. We wanted to give people giveaways and trinkets to go along with the CD. You'll see, Ryan, when yours comes, it comes in this amazing mailer, and it's a bag that has ZO2, photos and printed on it, and you get postcards and stickers and buttons and all this cool stuff that comes along with it. We're just from that old school Kiss mentality. We had the calendar in the first one. We had tattoos in one of them. We just love the giveaways of the old school Kiss, Kiss albums.
And Alice Cooper used to do that too.
Oh yeah, of course. Listen. It's a forgotten art. I know the physicality of record releases is an ancient form, but there's nothing like holding a release in your hands, getting a couple goodies with it to really, even if you don't play it. I'll tell you the truth. I don't even have a freaking CD player. I got Kibble Records sent me my promo copy, and I didn't even have a CD player to play it in. But having that CD in my hands, opening it up, smelling it, opening the booklet has, it's a timeline history of the band with a collage of photos to go along with that history. It's just, even if you just have it in your hands and then listen to it digitally, it's a forgotten art form.
Definitely. Will there be maybe cassette or vinyl versions down the road?
Definitely vinyl. I'm not sure about cassette, but vinyl is, like I said, all 4 records are being talked about right now, being released for vinyl in 2024.
Awesome. Now, Painted Lady was co-written by Chris Barron. Obviously, this is Chris Barron from Spin Doctors, correct?
Oh, of course. Who else? Come on. Yeah, so Chris, I'm not sure if everyone knows Chris. We had a show called Z-Rock on IFC. It was a semi-scripted comedy show on IFC. It was much like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but with a band. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, you can go on my YouTube page. All the episodes of Z-Rock are streaming there. Also, the Roku channel has its own Z-Rock channel, I believe, and you can stream all the episodes. But, the premise of the show was, we were, in real life, we were actually a kids band by day and a rock band by night. It was a true life depiction of what we did for a living. So for years, to pay the bills for ZO2, to pay the front to go on tour with Kiss and record our first record, we were children's entertainers, but not like the Wiggles, not like that type, not like Barney. We would go in our rock and roll get up, Van Halen t-shirts on, and, we would play rock songs to little kids, and they would love it. And we were, doing some upscale birthday parties and, everything you can think of. And an agent from William Morris was at this event, And he's like, "Oh my God, you guys don't look like the Wiggles. You look like Aerosmith. What are you doing?" Well, we're like, we're always pushing our real band, ZO2. We're like, "Hey, we're actually playing BB King's tomorrow night. Why don't you come down?" The guy wound up coming down and checking us out at BB King's, and we had a phenomenal show. Came up to us after the show and was like, "Hey, this is incredible. You're like, Clark Kent and Superman. You have this Clark Kent daytime personality of this kids band, and then you're Superman at night, having, being on stage and girls throwing their bras at you and people going crazy. And, we should do something." And in our brains, we just wanted another tour. So we asked him, "Hey, yeah, let's get another tour going." And he explained to us apologetically that he was actually in the TV side of William Morris. So we said, "Hey, why don't we do a TV show?" And a light bulb went off in his head, and he's like, "Send me a treatment." We wrote a little depiction of what we really do. Fast forward, I'm condensing this process. To get a TV show takes a long time, but I'll condense the process for our story. And fast forward a little while later, we had our own TV show on IFC, and one of the guest stars, back to your original question, was Chris Barron from the Spin Doctors. We had Chris Barron and John Popper and Joan Rivers and Dee Snider, Dave Navarro, Frank Stallone, Chris Jericho, all these people, Sebastian Bach, starred on our show with us. And we became great friends with Chris Barron. Played a couple shows with him, and he sat in with us. We did some Spin Doctor songs. He sang some ZO2 songs with us. And that's how it led to the co-write for Painted Lady.
Very cool. Now, a lot of your favorite bands and my favorite bands were Kiss, Striper, Rat. They're four pieces. Did ZO2 ever consider or discuss becoming a four piece at some point?
You know what? Not really. You know what? It's actually never even come up, I don't think. It's funny. When I joined David and Paulie, they were in a band called CO2. And obviously they had a different drummer. And when I joined them, we became ZO2. And, Paulie being, the guitar player that he is and the singer that he is, and David and I being able to lock in the way we did rhythmically, we never felt that anything was missing. We never felt there was a bottom missing. Usually when you're adding, whether it's another guitar player or keys or whatever it is, it's because the band you have can't create the sound that they're looking for. But, whatever we were looking for, we always found we could create with just the three of us.
Now, being a massive Robert Sweet fan, have you ever tried playing drums setting up to the stage left?
So, yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So I am a massive Robert Sweet fan. Striper is one of my favorite bands ever. Robert, Michael, if you're watching, they know I love them. I was on the Les Jericho cruise with them. Chris and I interviewed Michael and Robert. We became really good friends, really close. I'm back and forth with Michael and Robert all the time. Robert Sweet is to me one of the most underrated, influential drummers in the world. He never is talked about in the same sentences as Bonham and Pert and even Alex Van Halen and some of the 80s drummers. Robert, some of the stuff that he did, not only visually, like you said, his sideways setup, but his phrasings and his choices were so unique. And so many people, me personally, have tried to copy him over the years. Go try to play a Striper song if you're a drummer. Go try to play Soldiers Under Command. Sounds pretty straightforward, but it's not. Robert is such a unique, stylistic drummer that I absolutely love him. One of my top three drummers of all time.
Now, when you opened for Kiss, you would watch them do sound check and would often request obscure tracks like, let's just say, The Oath. Would they ever play those obscure tracks you would request?
Great story. So we would torture. You got to remember, we're kids. We are like in a giant candy store. We are on our first big tour. We are opening for our favorite band. All three of us, our favorite band is Kiss. Paulie and I were in a Kiss tribute band together. We are literally on cloud 10. So every day during sound check, we're not missing a second to see these guys perform, hang out with. I had lunch with Gene 4 out of 5 days a week. We would torture these guys. We would love to sit with them and talk. And at first, I don't, maybe they were a little standoffish, they're Kiss, they're superstars, but we didn't give a shit. We're goofy kids. You see our personalities on Z-Rock. You see me now. You see me in Joey Licious. We're gonna keep chopping at the iceberg until we get to the real person. And eventually we got to the real Kiss, the real personalities. And these guys became like crazy uncles for us. They were our best friends on tour. They would search for us every day to talk to us and hang out. And I'm sure many people know from my book and clips on YouTube. We played wiffle ball with Kiss. We had food fights, and we had stuff. So much fun with Kiss backstage that we would torture them during their sound checks, and we would be the only us and a few of our crew guys would be the only guys in the audience yelling at them, "Play the Oath, play She's So European, play," and they would try to do it, and they would be hitting us with picks. And I don't know if you knew this, but they were master pick throwers. Paul one time hit me. I was about 35 rows out. I yelled something, and he threw a pick at me, and I have a big target on my nose, but he blasted me with the pick. I was bleeding. I had a bump on my nose for about, I don't know, maybe a week. And he's like, "Yeah, that's why we don't throw picks in the audience anymore, because we can get sued." But we would yell these songs out in sound check, and they would do everything to accommodate, because there was like a private show. And after a couple weeks, Kiss's road manager came over to us. He's like, "Hey guys, listen, we know you're having the time of your lives. We know you love being here. You're obviously very enthusiastic, and Kiss loves you, but you gotta stop coming out for sound check." And we were like, offended. We're like, "Oh my God, did we do something wrong? What's wrong?" They're like, "No, they love it so much that we're behind schedule an hour or 2 hours every day, because you guys are out there and they're entertaining you, having fun with you morons, and playing dumb songs. We're so behind schedule. You guys got to at least promise me only go out for a half an hour every day." So from that moment on, we kind of limited our sound check experience.
I take it you still have those picks?
Oh my God, I have a drawer full of Gene, Tommy. Eric had his own picks too. Drawers full of picks. So many souvenirs from that tour. It's just stories. David would sound check with them a couple days a week, because Gene was late for sound check. Just, I'm not a big souvenir guy. Like, I'm not a big autograph guy. I'm a big moment guy, a big memory guy. If you've ever, I'll keep referring to my book. I refer to frozen moments in my book all the time. And I'm a big moment guy. And some of the moments on that Kiss tour we have on video, and, it's priceless to us.
Awesome. Now, speaking of the Kiss tour, you became very close to the Kiss guys, as you mentioned. Do you still stay in touch with them?
Periodically. I every once in a while I'll message Gene. I haven't heard from Paul in a long time. I talk to Eric every once in a blue moon, and Tommy will shoot a message, and direct message, a DM together. When we see each other, we're cordial. But just we fell out of touch over the years. Gene, years ago, way after the Kiss tour, we had a funny running in with him. So we're backstage at Jimmy Kimmel one night, and it's Hugh Hefner and his old playmates backstage, and it's just a crazy atmosphere. And who's there? Gene Simmons. And Gene sees us, and Gene had a funny nickname that he would call me when we were on the Kiss tour. He would, just because I'm Italian, my name is Joey, and at the time, it really wasn't even at the time, it was years later, but he always called me Joey Buttafuoco. And as soon as he saw me, he started screaming, "Joey Buttafuoco!" And, it was just so fun running into him. I haven't seen the guys in a long time. Obviously, I was at the last Kiss show, but I didn't get to say hello or anything like that. But love those guys. If I see them, they're still like brothers to me.
Awesome. Now, Brian, Z's little brother, documented the ZO2 Kiss tour. Would all this footage ever be released in some format down the road?
So it's a great thing that you asked that. So you're right. We do have everything documented. Brian, the little Z, if you would, documented everything. We have hundreds of hours of behind the scenes footage, and we're looking to do something, that we have some big plans coming up now that this whole ZO2 machine is relaunched, and we got the great Kibble Records behind us. We're going to be doing some fun things in the future with video, with audio. So there's going to be a lot of unreleased stuff coming up that I think people are going to enjoy.
Perfect. Now, do you still have your Kiss jacket from 6th grade and your Eric's Gold Creatures of the Night album?
Do I? Hold on, hold on. Stay right there.
Yes, yes. Oh, wow.
Much like the jean jacket I'm wearing right now, here's my one. This is literally my jacket from
Oh,
6th grade that
that's
I
one
wore
great
this every
jacket.
day for. I wore this every day, had to be 2 years straight. It's got all the Kiss patches on it.
Oh, geez.
I got pockets. I don't have them on anymore, but I got pockets full of buttons that aren't on anymore. But this jacket, was my pride and joy growing up. I wore this, as part of the Kiss Army. When I walked around, look who's on my jacket. I just recorded his new album for him. There he is, Ace. Just surreal thinking back, and me in 6th grade and loving Kiss so much and going to see the Asylum tour and wearing this jacket with pride years later. Not only would I be, playing on Ace's new record, but we just did a Live 3 show with Bruce Kulick. We recreated the whole Alive 3 record. I did it with Bruce Kulick and Todd Kearns and Joe McGinnis. Just it's surreal times. It's so funny. I preach it so much in my book, and again, I know I keep referring back to it, but my book is a feel good story about following your dreams, and it's something that I preach all the time to everyone. Just do what you love. If you do what you love, Ryan, you're doing what you love to do, right? You love to do interviews. You love to do this journalism. If you just do what you love, you may not see the payoff right away, but I promise you, you keep doing it and great things happen. Everything happens to me because I follow the things that I love to do. I don't listen to some asshole calling, "What are you doing? You got to get a job. You got to do this. You got to do that." Or "You can't do, how could you be a professional drummer? How can you be an actor? What do you mean you're going to write a book? What do you mean you're going to do this or you're going to go on?" Keep doing it. The people who tell you that you can't do it are the assholes that didn't succeed. And they don't want to see you succeed because they're jealous. Do what you love to do, follow your dreams, and good things will happen. Always.
Very true, very true. Now, any chance of any upcoming Kiss Unplugged shows like you played with Steve, Brandon, Breenan, Austin, and Tyson?
Oh my God, I hope so. So, Neil Davis, Kiss Convention Expo, whatever the hell you want to call it, extraordinaire. Neil is he put on Creatures Fest last year. He did Kiss Cancer Goodbye this year, and I was part of both of those. Kiss Creatures Fest, I did the full Unplugged record, like you just mentioned. I jammed with Ace that night. It was my first time jamming with Ace, and that kind of developed our relationship together. And then this last year, we did Kiss Cancer Goodbye, where I did the whole Lick It Up album, and then we did the whole Alive 3 record with Bruce Kulick. It was, Neil is a master at putting on these events, and I was actually in touch with him recently, and there is something coming for 2024 we can't talk about yet, but Neil is always looking to top himself. Now that Kiss is gone, I do think that these Kiss expos, conventions, whatever the hell you want to call them, are going to be where all of us Kiss fans and Kiss, alumni gather to celebrate.
Awesome. Now, did your band Creation record more songs than just the track Second Look?
Say again, I'm sorry.
Did your band Creation record more tracks than just the song Second Look?
How do you know about Creation? So Creation was one of my first bands. I have an old cassette, couple recordings. Second Look was really my first recording that I ever did as a musician. It's a fun song. We did a couple of others, crude little demos, but yeah, I'm talking, God, 1986, 7, I'm 12, I'm 13 years old recording. We don't know what the hell we're doing, but, time of our lives, we're making music as musicians and listening back and hearing songs we wrote. anyone who's a musician today, and I teach kids right now. I run a school of rock over in Clark, New Jersey, and there's nothing more fulfilling than teaching kids and setting them on the path that you already went down, and knowing what joys come by following that path. There's no fun, going on the path and then jumping on a plane and skipping over the road. The road is the fun part. The journey is most of the fun. Don't always People out there, don't always worry about getting to the finish line. Sometimes your trip is where the fun is. So I stress this to my students all the time, and any musicians out there listening, enjoy the journey. Don't always look for the finish line, because when the finish line gets there, you know what you're going to say? What's next? Don't worry about what's next. Just keep going on your path. You'll always find out what's next.
Now, have you run into your former teacher, Miss Cook, and Sister Marie since graduating?
Woo! These are names I have not talked about in a long time. So again, I know you're referring to my book. So I refer back to, I went to Catholic grammar school growing up. And, I had some very mean teachers, and they didn't like this hair. Sister Marie especially, she hated this jacket, hated it, which made I wore it with pride every day. I wore this jacket and strutted past her office, knowing that witch was going to call me in every day. And, she would make me cut my hair. It wasn't even this long. And she would make me cut my hair. I couldn't have my hair touch my collar. No, thank God I have not been in touch with those witches over the years. I'm not to talk ill, but I'm assuming both of them have passed away. And unfortunately, they weren't here. I would love to have a conversation with Mrs. Cook was okay, but Sister Marie especially, I would love to have a conversation with her right now and show her, hey, look, I did do what I wanted to do. She always used to tell me, what are you, stupid? You're not going to become a drummer. You can't become a rock star. And it's like watching. I lived in a Twisted Sister video, Ryan. I lived inside those stupid videos. If you watch Twisted Sister and you watch the freaking kid getting yelled at by the teacher, by Niedermeyer, that was me. Sister Marie was yelling at me. What's this? A Twisted Sister pin on your uniform? That was what I went through in real life. And it would be nice to visit her again. Maybe I'll go to her grave one day and put a CD on it.
Now, you were the backup drummer for Trans-Siberian Orchestra for many years. Would you ever record with them down the road or be a backup drummer again for them?
TSO was incredible. I actually did record with them a little bit. I got a gold record right behind me. You could see it in the background.
Yep.
I am on that album. It's funny, the way TSO did stuff back in the day. I don't even know exactly what I'm on. I did the songs weren't even songs yet when I was doing some stuff with Paul O'Neill, and I'm not even positive what songs I'm on. I'm on what is that? The Lost Christmas Eve album? I forget which one that is. But I'm on there. It was the time of my life. I love those guys. I miss those guys. I send them best wishes. I was actually messaging back and forth with Chris Caffrey today. I love those guys. Miss playing with them. Hopefully one day I can get to play with them again. Just scheduling wise has prevented me from doing the backup gig. It was a tremendous gig. I did it for 17 years. Had so much fun going out to Omaha every year and rehearsing with them, and just enjoyed their company and the music and the camaraderie. But it's a tough gig because you have to be on call 24/7, and with my schedule right now, I just couldn't do it. I'd love to be a member of Trans-Siberian Orchestra again one day down the road.
Awesome. Now, did the track on your Seventh Heaven audition tape get used for any other bands? Any other bands that you were in?
So that's a long story. So Seventh Heaven, another band that I auditioned with, and long story short, but there's a little lawsuit that went on, and I had recorded a song at my high school. I went to a performing arts high school. That's high school that Fame was based off of, the TV show Fame in Manhattan. I went to that high school, and I did some recordings at that high school. And somehow one of my songs got in the wrong hands, and legally I'm not allowed to speak about it. But yeah, just again, early days, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from not giving unsolicited music out to people and uncopyrighted music out to people, and just things you learn over the years as a young musician.
Now, your sixth grade talent show, Detroit Rock City, was posted. Now, will all the videos ever be posted?
Did I ever post a video of that?
It was at one point, and it got taken down since I last looked it up, but it was for a small amount of time.
Maybe I'll give you a little clip for this episode, Ryan, if you want to edit it in.
Oh,
Yep.
that'd be
So
amazing.
again, sixth grade talent show. Me and my buddies. I was the only real musician so far. I'm barely a musician at that point, but I was playing drums already. But we lip sync to Detroit Rock City, the Live 2 version, of course. And again, life changing moments for a 12-year-old. We did it in front of the whole school, and we wore Kiss makeup, and we were what we considered rock stars at that point. We walked, after that performance, we were the rock stars of the school. We put on a show, and we had people talking to us, and my lead singer Brian O'Grady stuck his tongue out to Mrs. Cook, the teacher you mentioned earlier, and got an eruption from the crowd, and moments like that build a kid's childhood, and we walked around the school like rock stars, and it just built the camaraderie. Those friends that I did that talent show with are still my greatest friends ever. I saw them recently. I just went to my buddy's 50th birthday party, and all of them were there, and we were reminiscing, and it's like a day hasn't passed. Still the greatest times of our lives. My best friends ever.
You've done a lot in your life, including Broadway, music, books. What about a Joey Cassata solo CD?
It's funny you say that again, Ryan. This is a great interview, Ryan, because you're always a step ahead of me. I love that.
Thank you.
And you're obviously a very handsome man. But the Joey solo CD, it's something I've always thought about. Doing so many projects that I'm doing, like you said, I was on Broadway for years and acted, and books, and I'm doing another Kiss book right now with Tom and Deuce from Shout It Out Loudcast, and I'm always up to something. But a solo CD is something that I've always wanted to do, and it's on my bucket list. It'll happen one day, and I'm not sure how it's going to happen and who's going to be on it, and what the songwriters will be and who I'm going to write with, and if I'm going to do some covers and originals, but it's something I would love to do one day. Yes.
Maybe you could write a song with Gene Simmons called Frozen Moments.
Oh my God, I would love to. Maybe I will revamp. What was My Uncle Was a Raft? What was that song he had?
Yes. Now, Playground recorded at least 6 tracks. With the band still being friends, would you ever consider releasing these tracks, redoing them in some kind of format at some point?
Ryan, I don't know if you have a camera in my studio or you have a bug. I think the last time I was at Hinckley, you might have planted a bug right in my ass, Ryan, because these are all things. So really, it's a little weird how you're bringing things up that, again, just texting with the band 2 days ago. We are planning a reunion show for
Ooh.
this summer. This spring, early summer, late spring. It's going to be late April. Haven't played. We jammed last summer, the guys from Playground, and we couldn't believe how good it sounded. We haven't played together in 20 or 30 years, and we picked up right where we left off. It sounded great. All original songs. All the songs sounded great. They're songs that are timeless. We were never a band that sounded like anyone else, so the songs still sound fresh. It's something I'm not sure about recording, but we are doing a reunion show. Look out for the announcement coming soon. Think late April 2024. Playground returns.
I might have to make it to that show then.
Amazing.
All right. Now, yourself, being like me, a big fan of 80s hard rock. What is your favorite hard rock album, 80s hard rock band when grunge hit?
So grunge was a killer for me. Grunge, it's not that I hated the music. It's that I hated the mentality, and I hated where I was in the music business at that time. So you got to understand, people don't realize what grunge did to bands that I was in. My band Exposed at the time we were basically a cross between Skid Row and Queensryche.
Hmm.
And, you know, once grunge hit, once 92 hit, once Smells Like Teen Spirit was the biggest thing in the world, everyone didn't want to touch anything that sounded like Skid Row or Queensryche or Kiss or Bon Jovi or Poison. They didn't want to hear from bands like us anymore. And, I'm still young. I'm 17 years old, but this is what I want to do. This is the music I want to create. I don't want to create grunge. I want to create fun, happy music. I want to create nothing but a good time. I want to create Youth Gone Wild. I want to have fun playing music. I don't want to sing about depression and drugs and killing myself. You know why? Because I'm not depressed. I never took a drug, still to this day in my whole life. It's not the person I am. I love life. I love playing music. I love being happy and celebrate and enjoy moments. And grunge was the opposite of that. So when my band started shopping our new record, and all the comments were, "You're too 80s, your singer's too 80s, your songs are too 80s." It was heart-wrenching to me. So it caused a big divide between me and grunge. I hated grunge because of that. So at the time, I fell out of original music for a little while. And it wasn't until bands, when the first Alanis Morissette record, I absolutely fell in love with. I said, you know what? This is something I like again. When Oasis came out, I said, this is something I really love. Hootie and the Blowfish, I started loving in the 90s. And then my friend Ernie, who co-hosts my podcast, Top 5 with Joey Cassata with me, presented a new Enough's Enough record, we were major fans of back in the day. And when he showed me Paraphernalia and Tweaked and Seven at the time, all these mid 90s records,
Mhm.
I started to fall in love with music again. And I had to get away from that grunge. And you could see, listen, I'm not going to badmouth grunge, and grunge was what it was, but you don't see grunge bands on tour selling out arenas anymore. You don't see any grunge bands around anymore. You still see Skid Row, you still see Winger, you still see Warrant, you still see these bands out there, Trickster,
Yeah,
bands still selling out big places because that music is timeless.
definitely. I think for myself, Enough's Paraphernalia, Great Whites, Let It Rock, and Warrant's Ultraphobic. I love those albums at that time.
Absolutely. There's so many great records from that time that just didn't anyone gave the time of day because of that grunge movement. And it's the same old it's the corporate attitude. This is the big thing. We're going to sell this old thing that we were pushing for so hard. You know what? Crumble up, throw it out the window. This is what we're pushing now. And then the second, for no reason at all, they don't want to push that anymore. Ooh, look, a shiny light. And they get distracted and they go look at something else. This is what we're pushing now. So never follow a trend. That's what I was trying to say earlier. If you do what you love and you don't follow a trend, everything is secular. It'll come back around. Whatever you love, you're doing for a reason because you love it, and that will pay off and come back around. So just don't follow a trend. Do what you love to do, and do it to the best of your ability with the passion that you can put behind it and the effort that you can put behind it, and you'll succeed.
Definitely. Now, you work with Gilbert Godfrey on Z-Rock and Victor. What are some of your favorite memories of working with Gilbert?
Whew, Gilbert was unbelievable. We worked with so many great comedians on Z-Rock, and just so many great people that we're in a foreign world. We're not actors, we're musicians, and we always like to say we never acted. All we did was react to the incredible guests that we had, and Gilbert was one of them. Gilbert was so funny, so fast and quick and timeless. How he would spurt out a line. You couldn't act with Gilbert. You couldn't act with someone like Joan Rivers or Patrice O'Neill. You couldn't act with these people. And, our co-star Jay Okerson, these comics were so fast and incredible. You couldn't keep up with them. So all you could do was react to what they're saying and be yourself. And that's what we did with Gilbert, and we did with all those comedians. I just was myself reacting to real situations and, stuff that Gilbert did, especially, after Z-Rock, when I wrote an animated series called Victor about, this old curmudgeon, kind of like this Archie Bunker type character. And we wrote a character for my partner and I, Tommy Snyder. We wrote, who was the singer for Playground, by the way, my partner in Victor. We wrote this character, this Hasidic Jewish midget that only the one and only Gilbert Gottfried could play. And when I contacted Gilbert and I sent him the script, he was like, "Oh my God, this is me. This has to be me." So, we had a little script and I had some animation done already. And when Gilbert went into the recording studio with us and we did some back and forth and we did some, we had a loose script, but Gilbert is so great. He went off on tangents that I have, 2 hours of just Gilbert in the studio as this character, Stymie Majidowitz. And it's pure gold. And what I did was I took that and we had to rewrite the whole short and we had to reanimate around what Gilbert did. And, it's online now. It's a little, people might call it offensive maybe now. This is early 2013, 14, 15. This is before this whole movement of everyone being offended by everything.
Right.
So there was a lot of content in there that maybe wouldn't be, openly welcome today, which is a shame because it's comedy. And to me, comedy shouldn't be ever censored. If you can't make fun of yourself and a race and your race and everyone's weight and size and preference, and that's comedy. And, it's kind of what we did with Victor. And the stuff we did with Gilbert, we're going to release one day. We just got to wait for the time and make sure that the culture is right by it.
Actually, funny enough, that was my next question. If there's going to be some DVD releases, I would love to check that out.
Yeah, again, like I said, I have so much of that stuff. Absolutely. I just we got to figure out when the timing is right. We got to figure out, make sure, that the offended world will not take offense to this and cancel me and cancel Gilbert's legacy and cancel this guy. And, I don't want any part of that. I'll fight that to my dying bed. I hate that stuff, but I'm not gonna sit and have to deal with, people who don't understand what is and what isn't offensive. If you're offended by it, don't watch it. Don't try to shut me down. So it'll happen one day. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Now, Bret Michaels was committed to appear on an episode of Z-Rock and then backed out last minute. When he saw Cheap Trick and Pop Evil at PNC Banks Arena in 2018 or in Rocktember with Hinckley, did you get to discuss this with Bret at all?
No, so it was a long story. So we had Bret signed up to do an episode of Z-Rock with us. If anyone has seen that episode, it's an episode where we're visiting Jay Okerson's character Neil's hometown, and we're going up there to do a show with Bret Michaels, and chaos ensues, and Neil goes on a rampage throughout the town and destroys mailboxes and eggs at church, and we get arrested. And the end of the episode was supposed to have Bret in the episode with us. And, we even went down to film with Bret at one of his shows that we actually, ZO2 opened the show. And, just for some reason, things happen. And when guys are on the road, people get sick and people are exhausted. And, something happened that night that Bret couldn't be a part of our scheduling that night. And, it worked out okay. We wound up working around it, and we kind of just chased Bret's tour bus at the end of the episode. Who's ever seen that episode? I think it was called Jailhouse Z-Rock, maybe that was the name of the episode in season 2. And no, we never discussed it with Bret. A couple months later, Bret contacted us when he was on Celebrity Apprentice, and we made an appearance on Celebrity Apprentice with Bret. He used all our gear, and we were selling cupcakes for him and Joan Rivers, and it was a lot of fun. And then years later, we jammed with Bret again. And just recently at Hinckley, I jumped on stage with the Trickster guys, and Bret opened his arms with us, and along with my good pal Pete Evick, pulled us onto stage, and we got to jam together. So never any ill will. I love those guys, and it's just something that it happens when people are on the road, and you never want to look at someone and say, "Oh, why did you do this or why did you do that?" There's always a reason behind it.
For sure. Now, myself and yourself are huge Enough's Enough fans. What would you say your favorite Enough's Enough album is?
God, that's a hard question, Ryan. You son of a bitch. Uh, it always flip flops because I love the band so much. Strength is always an album that I go to. It's so powerful, but I always find myself gravitating towards Seven and Peach Fuzz for some reason.
Interesting.
And I don't know why, but I flip flop. Again, one week I'll be on a tweaked kick, and then I'll be on a question mark kick, and I love all the records for different reasons. But if I have Paraphernalia too, so many strong songs on that. It's hard to pick one. But if you're forcing me to pick right now, I love Peach Fuzz right now.
Great choice. For me, Paraphernalia.
Yeah, it's incredible. Paraphernalia, for a long time, it was my favorite record, but I think maybe I just overplayed it so much that, just like Kiss records, Kiss records through the years, I love so much, and that I play it so much that I have to listen to something else. So that's where I am with Paraphernalia and Strength right now. I listened to them so much growing up that I got to go to, I'm on Peach Fuzz and question mark right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Joey. Been looking forward to doing this for a while, and hey, we made it happen.
Dude, I'm so glad we carved out the time to do this. It took a while, but it was a pleasure. We run into each other periodically. I'm sorry I couldn't make the time for you in Hinckley. We tried to get it done. It's just so hard to do when you're on the road, and you got people pulling you in all other directions. But be on the lookout. I'm up to so many things. I got the new Ace Frehley record coming out in February. I'm on, like I said, more than half the tracks on that record. I got the new ZO2 release out right now. You can order it on kibblerecords.com. Check it out. It's a super fun CD, greatest hits, and a whole new CD on there. My top 5 with Joey Cassata podcast is on weekly. We're actually about to film our 100th episode later tonight, so be on the lookout for that. Also, the Tom and Zeus Shout It Out Loud book with me. We're doing a book called Raise Your Glasses. It's going to be review tribute book to all the songs in the Kiss catalog. We got celebrities galore talking about their favorite Kiss songs and what Kiss songs mean to them. It's going to be great. You can find me on social media at Joey Cassata across the board.
Very cool.